So this is my Thursday evening. I pick up a piece of birch and a knife. I start picking away pieces of wood little by little. I hear the birds singing while I sculpt my way into the wood to make a bowl. I'm making a food bowl for my cat Tonga, since my mother puts the bowls I give her away in the lower cabinet, since she prefers the ones bought from the store. That's fine. It's not like I need a collection of wooden bowls in my cabinets either, since I'm only going to see the mistakes in the wood anyway. The question I want to answer you people is why I got into woodworking in the first place. So I got a house not far away from Stockholm. It's a 45-minute drive. Life in Stockholm was fine, though I'm not a city person. The whole I need to develop a personality thing never suited me. I think city life is pressured in a way that makes people either completely pretentious or completely authentic. I have a theory. It's that after a certain number of years lived in a city, one becomes either a seagull or a poet. Seagulls being completely authentic, poets completely pretentious. Seagulls don't care about opinions. They are just doing their thing. They have been eating salted leftovers from people for the past 40 years, so what? A few generations. And now they have gone completely crazy. Screaming all the time, attacking people, not hiding their emotions. So, being completely authentic. Then there's poets. Poets have the nerve to portray stuff as sparkling, or call stuff roller coasters, which are not roller coasters. Poets can read a book and say that it was like a roller coaster ride. And what the book actually says is that while Hank saw a reflection of the moon in a puddle that reminded him about a sunrise at the Natural Park in 1996, and at that moment Hank knew that he couldn't really love Linda. This roller coaster sucks. Poets are making up emotions because they need to lie to themselves that they actually feel something. Seagulls don't hide emotions. All the salt and pressure have turned them into compressed emotions. Life in the city is based on quite strict models. You can be an artist, try to come up with compelling topics to discuss, how liminal spaces affect us, how you see beauty in the 70s style concrete buildings, or in how various ways techno sucks nowadays. I tried once going into the theater, and this was an old, classy theater. One where a small bus stops, and out comes a bunch of hyacinth-smelling elderly women. This hyacinth gang really demonstrates how badly Swedish people have accustomed into being together in bigger spaces, cutting into people's sides with their pointy grandma elbows. So yeah, no culture for me. You can be the business type, be interested in paddle and AI cryptos, or you can pick my model, which is to be a university student. As a university student, the hardest thing to adapt is the vocabulary. This is not something that is mentioned to you in advance and might take you by surprise when starting your studies. The basics are really quite easy. You need to use words like context and discourse. Discourse means conversation, context means nothing. Whenever in doubt, you can end a sentence by saying, "It really depends on the context." That's get out of the jail free card in university. With these basics, you will fit in nicely. You can also talk about liminal spaces or AI cryptos in university, but that just might push you into the outcast of university world, where you are stuck with the artsy people of university or the businessy type of university. So beware, I warned you. That is the social part of the university conversations. Other part is the lectures themselves. Out here in Sweden, conversation skills are overall quite bad, and the professors don't really expect a lively conversation in classes. But there are occasions where this doesn't apply. I had to do a few courses of anthropology, and while the professor was Swedish, she had done her studies in UK. So she had these lively conversations as a demanded part of her classes. I didn't like anthropology at all. Those endless conversations about kinship, about how something is learned and how other stuff is just coming from inside of you really felt like a waste of time. So I was there in class, filled with international bunch of social types who seemed to be really into having deep conversations, trying my best to slack off while I can see the professor giving me a incriminating look. One which says, "You are being a typical Swede. Now just have a decent conversation, will you?" So I did come up with a tactic which was really working. I made it my duty to be the first one to speak at every group discussion. I never understood the question. So my contribution every time was that I said, what an interesting question. What do you think? And all those social people were just filled with enthusiasm. Not only did they get a justification to talk at length, they got that from a local person who are known for their sparsity with words. And 5 minutes later, when the incriminating professor came and asked, "Has everybody contributed to the conversation?" I could answer honestly and with a smile, yes, we have, and the conversation has been lively. As a Nordic person, being silent is our starting position in social situations. This really works if your native tongue is Norwegian, Danish, Icelandic, or God forbids, Finnish. We don't flourish our conversation with banalities. That is the opposite of speaking English. English seems to be an endless vortex of how do you do, no how do you do, I do cold brew, do you use glue, oh this was a breakthrough. For every person in the city the same rules still apply. The hundreds of options of bars, restaurants, parks and stuff will force you to stick to a few places. In the end, you are forced to repeat the same patterns in the city. You go to this park, this shop, that restaurant, and hang out with these people. The difficulty is to accept this system and embrace it. The variety of options looming in the distance makes you question your decisions on a daily basis. Is this the nicest park in the city? Is bad Thai really so good you should eat it every week? Do I really like this group of friends? Constant clicking of social media doesn't help this at all. The all-knowing algorithm will challenge your decision even more. The algorithm will find your weak spot and really make you insecure in the hopes of selling you a trip to Italy, a fun 70s style colored shirt, or in my case, picking up woodworking. Time-lapse videos is really the last frontier for middle-aged people in social media. Even if you don't like the clickbait shit you're offered, you will watch somebody power wash a driveway or carving out a wooden spoon. And that's the image I placed myself in. This is something I could become. A man in the forest, sculpting away an everyday item out of wood. So, I bought a house, and what was fun, I also bought a cat at the same time. The house came with a bonus, a 20-year-old cat. I named him Tonga. After moving in, I started to adapt to my life as a cat owner. Tonga's favorite hobby is sitting in my lap. I have to put a blanket in my lap since his nails really bite into my thighs otherwise. After he falls asleep, I wrap the cat in a blanket, making a cat hammock out of this. Tonga, Tonga, you can't sit in my lap anymore. I must put you in a cat hammock. Oh yeah, I have tried to make some songs about Tonga. The cat hammock song might be the masterpiece at this point. But I also made a housey disco song, Swedish Daft Punk if you will. But I digress. Placing yourself in the middle of the woods can be tough. Surrounded by space and loneliness can be hard, since space around you makes you go into your head. How am I using my time? Well, daytime is quite simple. Daytime you have to work. As having a degree from university, I can choose from two things on how to make a living. I can get a desk from an office, have myself surrounded by emails, Excel documents, and stupid adult drama in the office. conversations with colleagues, how their spouses rub them the wrong way, how the organizations really don't use their full potential, while witnessing that these people really don't do anything about the problems. This is something I really cannot do. The other option is to work with people, and I chose teaching. So I spent my days shepherding a herd of early puberty kids whose fields of interest doesn't really align with the subject I'm teaching. Every 45 minutes a different batch of kids show up in my classroom, and a rodeo of avoiding being filmed in their TikToks, telling them to stop tearing up the books and threatening them with calling up their parents start. And yeah, you can always try to relate with the students. When I was young, the previous generation boasted how their only way of transportation was a pair of skis, which they used to come to school in the summer or winter. I tried to come up with a similar thing, where the students could see that once I was like them, and although we are different, we aren't that different after all. So I have tried something similar. I have talked to them about old technology. I told them that I used to record Bon Jovi songs into cassettes. Oh yeah, I'm Bon Jovi. Oh yeah, it's time to rock. And that I used to record Conan O'Brien into VCR. Hey, I'm Conan O'Brien. But the students have genuinely no idea what I'm talking about. But I can talk to them about the old internet. See, when I started using social media, you just wrote there what you felt like. YouTube recommended stuff that you were actually interested in. After Van Halen, YouTube recommended you to Black Sabbath. Students listen to me wide-eyed when they hear about the world that once was there, but for them is out of reach. Like Woodstock for people who were just too late for the party. A thing that once was, but cannot be recreated. The old algorithm. The problem with internet is that its success is only counted as engagement. If somebody clicks something, that's simply a good thing. I don't really think this is a good way of measuring anything. The whole engaging thing is really ripping the internet into small, irritating pieces. These pieces consist of these kitchen hack videos, toxic behavior, and this superficial stuff. And for some reason internet seems to work in a way that even this has been a mistake, it's not getting fixed. Like opening up a comment section in a newspaper. Definitely a big mistake, but they are not taking it out. And the reason is engagement. I know it's tempting to see what other people are thinking about a piece of journalism, but there has been no value in seeing people give their witty opinions or just trashing the journalist. And this measuring system trickles down into normal conversations. You try to say that you saw a nice wedge of grains last night, and the only thing people are saying to you is that, oh yeah, did it have a lot of followers? But back to my work. I was bad at school in my day. At first I thought I could hide this fact from the students. But now I have realized that this is good. I can threaten them. If you don't listen to me, you could end up like me, unarmed, listening to this nonsense you are dealing to me every day. Whatever works, I will use. But yeah, working in education, the low paycheck is compensated with people's reactions when hearing about your work. That is, oh, that's nice, you're a teacher, you really do have a work with a meaning. And you really need to value these comments, because they are what counts as 30% of your income. These reactions are flipped when you are working in a field that makes the world a worse place. When you work with oil, for example, and tell it to people, you can see their faces going all weird, and you can tell this is going to be a conversation once you're not present. But you're getting a nice paycheck. Yeah, teaching is rough. And I'm a sensitive person. I'm like a ball of clay, which has been to the oven for just a few minutes. Crunchy on the outside, ready to tear on the inside. From that work you need to unwind in the evenings. So the easy way to spend your evenings is to buy stuff from the internet, get in the running, or just give in on scrolling Instagram. I really can't do it. So I use myself as a cushion for my cat in the sofa, and also chipping away these pieces of wood. Surrounded by emptiness, you really have to narrow your world. Seeing a spoon hiding in the middle of a wooden block and carving the extra stuff out from that is narrow enough for me. That keeps me away from the algorithms, constant need of buying something, and also crotchting.